So this is the top 10 list of the worst NC weapons. While making this list I was surprised how many NC weapons were similar to each other, so it was rather hard to find an outstandingly bad ones. Still, even if the weapon is 0.1% worse, it's gonna end up here. While judging these weapons I took in consideration the popular opinion, cost and versatility that each weapon had. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Number 10. So obviously this list will include some of the weapons that you personally have played and gotten really good with. But that doesn't mean that you or even most of the players will find it so good or useful, and a good example is SAS-R. I personally have done very well with it, but that's because I know its specifics and how actually to use it. Noobs or players that simply don't play Infiltrator at all would take this weapon and barely kill anyone because they aim for the body mass, not the head as you are supposed to. And this is where the learning curve of the weapon sets in. See, it would be much easier for them to just grab SMG and run with that than with CQC bolt action rifle, so I think this deserves the spot on the list. Number 9. Yes, I might be biased when it comes to burst weapons and firing modes, but then again most people are the same. So this spot goes for Gauss rifle and Gauss compact bursts. Cheap yet annoying to use. The biggest problem with burst modes is whenever you want a full auto effect, you have to keep pressing the trigger, which at times can make you miss a couple of shots, which in turn can be a matter of life and death. They cost the smallest amount of certs for any weapon, but that probably is the only redeeming quality. Then again, you still have to spend certs for something that could potentially hinder your ability to kill. The only time I would recommend getting either one of these would be if you want to Auraxium them or you don't have anywhere else to spend your certs. Number 8. A lot of people will hate me for saying this, but Gauss SAW is probably the worst of all 3 default LMGs. Yes, it's very strong and in hands of skilled player it's great, but I'm not looking at great players when making these lists. I'm looking at normal players that enjoy the game and don't go too deep in the whole competitive scene. Gauss SAW is very hard to control if you are shooting without any stop, and actually that is what you should not do. But go tell that to a noob. There are better LMGs for players to use when they are just starting or even constantly playing heavy assault. Whether that be Anchor or EM6, there are better options for a starting LMG. I have even heard from people whenever they started playing this game and tried out Gauss SAW, they wanted to quit the NC as a whole, just because they disliked this LMG. Number 7. On the 7th spot I placed another weapon that frustrates a lot of noobs, including me. NC1 Gauss rifle. Another default weapon that is hard to use. While NC in general have weapons that don't really vary too much from each other, this one stands out to me as the most annoying assault rifle in the game. There is mostly one reason. First shot recoil is huge. I tend to use assault rifles on distance by shooting in 1 or 2 round bursts. But Gauss rifle's first shot recoil makes other shots land nowhere close to the target. Yes, it's okay on close range, but to be honest I felt so much better by playing with Reaper or Albatross, as they are better on longer ranges. Yet, if I want to fight in close quarters, I would probably go with GR22 or Carnage. Sure, they have lower damage, but fire rate and recoil won't let me down like Gauss rifle would. Number 6. Even though I love the looks of the rifle, I cannot deny that it has very specific and very small niche in combat. Yes, the Railjack is my number 6. Reason you find this weapon here is that it's absolutely not user-friendly for even somewhat experienced snipers. It also costs 1000 certs and only has 4 bullets in a clip, while the rest of the bolt actions have 5. I still remember the first time it was put on the test server and it had secondary firing mode, which basically turned the rifle into a pump action shotgun with damage equivalent of semi-automatic shotgun. So basically 2-shot kill. But no, this mode was removed because community whined too much without any good reason or devs listened too much. Either way, this very interesting concept was scrapped and all that was left was unique looking yet generic long range sniper. Oh well. Number 5. I have heard people say that Rebel is a good pistol, but they are dead wrong. I would even argue that NC has the worst selection for secondaries in the whole game. But as for Rebel, the pistol shoots about 30% slower than mag shot and deals only 25% more damage. So you can already see the DPS drops right there. Even when finishing enemies, Rebel lacks the damage that revolvers have. So if you value your hard-earned certs, avoid this purchase. Just stick with the default. Number 4. I'm amazed that NC loves to hate this weapon so much. But then again, you guys have 200 damage per bullet weapons, so there is no real need for Warden. Sure, it still deals more damage, have 6 times scope and costs only 250 certs, but those are its only redeeming qualities. Either LMGs or assault rifles or even carbines are all better up close and even sometimes at range. So the only reason you would pick Warden is either to out-ruxim it or counter-snipe snipers. Rest of the time you might as well just go with the default gun for your class. So if you think that semi-automatic rifles are good, think again. Number 3. Most of the sniper type weapons are the same between the factions, so in this spot I placed basically the equivalent of Vanu and Terran default. The Gauss SPR is my number 3, and come on, it deserves the spot. Supposedly a long-range semi-automatic rifle. Yeah, that already tells you everything you need to know. At least it only costs 100 certs, so it's not so bad for your wallet. But still, the bullet drop and low damage makes it suitable choice for this top 10. Even when out-ruximing Vanu's Spectre, basically the same thing as Gauss SPR, I had hard time getting kills, and it didn't had any drop. So if Gauss SPR has drop, it's pretty hard to hit anything beyond 70 meters. And the only reason you should buy this weapon is only when you want to out-ruxim it. Otherwise, consider buying Impetus. It's basically the same thing, only with lower end scopes. Number 2. Much like Warden, I'm surprised how much hate this weapon gets from the community. But that is with a good reason. As I don't play heavy assault as much, I don't care about the weapon other than its accuracy at first. But if you would compare EM6, arguably the best LMG, and the EM1, the worst one, by simply looking at the stats you would probably pick EM1, but you would be wrong. Although EM1 costs only 250 certs, it lacks attachments, therefore versatility, and it has the lowest damage of all NC LMGs. So even if you play with the default, you'll deal more damage per second than EM1. As for accuracy, yeah sure, it has slightly better accuracy than EM6, but higher fire rate just throws that off. So anyways, if you are looking for a good, solid LMG, yet you don't have certs, do not get tempted by this reject of a gun. Number 1. The crown of the stink pile, the biggest crap in this game for secondary slot. I'm of course referring to Mag Scatterer, the shotgun pistol. Oh, where to start? Well, first up, I think it's worse than no helmet because it actually makes it harder to kill enemy. But most insulting of all, it's just a gimmick and nothing else. By this I simply mean that you could have placed this very same thing inside the Railjack, and it could have been great weapon. But as it stands, the Mag Scatterer truly is the worst pistol for NC, and perhaps the worst weapon in the game. This piece of crap costs 1000 certs, which means that if you have bought it, you might as well have paid somebody to kick you in the crotch and perform can-can on it. I would understand if it would kill an enemy from 10 meters with only 2 shots, but most of the time, even up close, you're gonna have to waste 3 shots out of your 4, while rest of the pistols can take out 2 enemies at 50-meter range. Truly abysmal, so please do not buy it until somebody does something about it. And so there's my top 10 list on the worst weapons for NC. I wonder, what is yours? Maybe post your top 10 list down below in the comment section. That would definitely spark a conversation. But anyways, I wonder how many unfortunate souls bought the Mag Scatterer without knowing what it is. Oh, and feel free to check out my other top 10s.